taking nothing but win.
What up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Unscripted Sports Show. MoneyE here, back with the week 2 of the college football picks and best bets. Week 1 in the books, and what a week 1 it was. Number 1 team in the country, the Texas Longhorns, the college football favorite to win the national championship. I don't know if they still are. But they go into Columbus, the Horseshoe, and lose 14-7. Archie Manning looked like a true freshman out there. Essentially, in hindsight, he kind of is, because that was his third start and first road start. His other 2 starts were at home against subpar opponents. This one was against the number 3 team and then that reigning national champion, the Ohio State Buckeyes. So he really looked like a true freshman in that sense. And he is kind of a true freshman because he's only had 2 starts, and this was his first road start. So I'm not going to overreact here. I'm not that Longhorns fan, but I'm not going to say Archie Manning is overrated or anything like that. Is he overhyped? Possibly. Is he the number 1 overall pick for next year's NFL draft? He still could be. I think if he does come out and the Saints are that bad, or are bad as people think they are, that as bad as people projected them going to be, that's a story in itself. Is it a coincidence that the Saints are going to be bad and Archie Manning could go to the NFL next year? Is it a coincidence, or is it or the Saints going to tank for Manning? Because Archie Manning is from Louisiana. His grandfather played for the Saints. So there is history with the Manning family in New Orleans. So is it a coincidence that they're going to be bad? Am I going to sit here and say is it a coincidence? I think the story is going to follow itself. I think the story is going to play out as it is. I think Texas is going to be fine. I think they're going to make the playoffs. Hold your horses. They could struggle against Georgia. They have Georgia and Florida. They have to go to Georgia, and they have to go to Florida. Ooh, maybe they are in trouble, because Florida is good and Georgia is good too, and those are 2 tough places to play in the SEC. So if you're talking about top 5 toughest places to play in the SEC or in the country, Florida and Georgia are up there. It's not easy to play at the Swamp. Just ask LSU, just ask all the teams that been there and lost. So, and they beat Georgia, and they get revenge from Georgia going into Texas last year and beating them. Yeah. Before the season started, I had Georgia winning that game and Texas winning the rematch, and then Georgia winning the rubber match. But now that I think about it, maybe Texas goes into Georgia and wins, and then Georgia wins SEC championship game, and remember, Georgia beat them twice last year, so we'll see. I think they split the 2 games with Georgia and Florida, because I think Florida is good enough to beat them at home. I'm not just saying. I guess I'm saying that as a Gators fan, but I think they are good enough to beat them. From what I saw, Texas is not all that. I'll give credit to Ohio State's defense. They played well, but Ohio State's offense didn't do well either. Both offenses sucked, but it was a defensive game. So if you had the under, you made cash. You made cash of all the unders in that game. So, and then Alabama. Speaking of Alabama, the Crimson Tide, Roll Tide Roll. Are they back? No. They lost to Florida State, the team that won 2 games last year, went 2-10 last year. Probably one of the top 3 teams, one of the top worst teams in the country last year. Yeah, Alabama went to the in Tallahassee and lost 31-17. They got completely dominated in the first half and didn't show up in the second half. Ty Simpson looked like garbage. The offense looks like garbage. Defense is okay. They made Florida State look like Florida State. They made Tommy Castellanos look like he's Eli. Look like he was Lamar Jackson out there. With his legs. 16 carries for 78 yards and 1 touchdown. There was a lot of guys that used their legs on Saturday. Haynes King with using his legs. I think he had over 100 yards. You had Jackson debut for Auburn. He used his legs on Friday night. You got a lot of people, a lot of dual threat quarterbacks out there that did well on Saturday. That used both their arm and their legs. So what else? LSU, Clemson, the Battle of the Tigers, the Battle of Death Valley. The true Death Valley is in LSU. LSU went into Clemson, won. I had LSU in the money line. With the LSU in the money line, yeah. I had LSU. That was my only win on Saturday. I had Texas money line. Yikes! I had Alabama minus 13.5. Yikes! Who else did I have? I had, as soon as Texas lost, I knew LSU was gonna win. I knew both. I didn't think both SEC teams were gonna lose big games on the road. So I had LSU. I switched it to LSU. I had Clemson. I gave up Clemson last week, but I switched it as soon as Texas lost because I had a feeling. I thought about it more, and I thought LSU would go in because the veteran quarterback. And no, they both have veteran quarterback. But LSU, Brian Kelly needed that win in the opener, and I think Clemson's overrated. Ranked top 5 in the country preseason. I don't know why they were that. They didn't look like a top 5 team. Alabama didn't look like top 8 team. Georgia looked all right. They didn't cover against Marshall, but Marshall covered that game. I didn't give it out, but I knew Marshall would cover because Georgia doesn't usually cover big numbers like that. What else? Sunday, I had Miami. Beating Notre Dame. Miami home dog. The experience of the transfer. Forgot his name now. The Georgia transfer. Beck. And you had Notre Dame coming in with CJ Carr, redshirt freshman, making his first start on the road in Miami against an experienced quarterback, and he transferred experienced quarterback that won a national championship, won 2 national championships last year. I had Miami in that game, and I had that score. I predicted 27-24. I gave that out that was my score last week when I gave up my picks. Not my bets. My picks. I give up 10 picks a week. Just picks, not bets. Those are not bets. Sometimes I will take a bet from that game, and give it out. But these are just strictly picks, straight up picks, and I do 10 a week. So last week, speaking of that, I went 5-5 last week and 7-8 on the season. Yeah, so I went 500 last week. I had. Okay. I had Boise State wrong. They got crushed. I got North Carolina State right. They won. I had Auburn. They won. I had I had Colorado. They lost. I had Penn State. Obviously, they won. I had Texas. Obviously, they lost. Alabama. They lost. Clemson. I originally had Clemson. No, I originally had LSU, and then I switched to Clemson. So my original take was I had LSU, then I switched it to Clemson before the show. So I stuck with Clemson, and then I changed my mind. I didn't change my mind back to LSU after Texas lost. So I didn't think two SEC teams would lose on the road in that sense. So in the Miami and Notre Dame, I originally had Notre Dame, but switched it to Miami after I switched Clemson LSU to Clemson. I switched Notre Dame Miami, and Miami won 27-24. But the exact score. TCU North Carolina. I didn't think that was going to be a blowout. TCU went to North Carolina and completely dominated. They won 48-14, I believe. Yeah, 48-14. I had 41-34. I thought it was going to be a high scoring game, but I thought North Carolina was going to be able to score. They should probably started Jackson or Johnson from the beginning of this game, because once he came into the game, their offense started playing better. So, yeah, Bill Belichick's debut in college didn't go according to plan. And then my best bet, had that wrong, obviously. And then my best bet, number two, I was shooting Clemson, had the under, hit that. And my best bets for the show, because I do one on the short and one on the short best bet, I am 1-1. 1-1 on the best bet for the shorts. And then my short for this show, I am 2-2. I went 1-1 week 0 and 1-1 last week. So 2-2 on the show best bet. And I'll give out that at the end of the show. So with that said, let's get started. Friday night, there's only one game. There's no Thursday night game this week because NFL. So the college football didn't want to go up against the Eagles in Dallas. James Madison and Louisville. This should be a good game. Both teams are 1-0. Both teams obviously won in the week one. And I have Louisville winning 34-26. So Louisville is 2.5 point favorite, I believe. No, there's 13.5 point favorite. So I have James Madison covering and Louisville winning 34-26. If I had to bet in that game, I would take Louisville. Oh, if I had to bet, yeah, I'll give that out later. One best bet, one of my best bets is from this game. So, with that said, this game, South Florida and Florida, South Florida and Florida, battle of two Florida teams, obviously, and I'm a Gator fan, so I'm gonna pick Florida here. I have them winning 31-14, and they are. Where are they? I forgot what my favorite they are. All right, there we go. No, it doesn't matter. Florida is obviously favorite, so I have them winning 31-14. I just think South Florida beat Boise State. I think they're going to come off higher on that. I think going to the swamp is different than playing Boise State at home. Yeah, it's going to be different. Are they going to stay in it? Maybe South Florida cover the first half. But I think Florida um um opens the door floodgates in the second half and win 31-14. I think their defense is going to dominate. I think their offensive line is just been too much for South Florida's defensive line in his SEC versus major conference. So we shall see. Moving on to the next game. Next game, Illinois, number 11, Illinois versus Duke. Um, both teams won last week. Oh, yeah, Florida and South Florida both won last week. Uh, Illinois, number 11, going to Duke. Um, Duke won last week. Illinois obviously won last week. But I have Illinois winning 24-14 here. I think Illinois is just a better team. Duke has a new quarterback after he transferred to Oregon State. Um, so yeah, I need him. I don't think he looked that great with Oregon State, to be quite honest. So did they really lose much? Who knows? What else is there to say? Yeah, Illinois wins 24-14. I just think Illinois is better. They have the better quarterback, better coach, better offensive line, better defense. I just think Illinois is a team to watch out for this season. I think they could be the third best team in the Big Ten, behind Penn State, Illinois, Penn State, and Ohio State. They could be this year's Indiana, but they're preseason ranked. So Illinois has the experience. They have the experienced quarterback. They have a good head coach, underrated. So I think Illinois goes in there and wins 24-14. And when moving on to the next game, game is Iowa State and Iowa. Battle of Iowa. Number 16, Iowa State at home against Iowa, the Hawkeyes. This is a rivalry. They back. No, it is a long rivalry. Let's see. This rivalry dates back to 19. The trophy was the trophy was dated back since 1976, I believe. The Cy Hawk Trophy is awarded to the winner of the game. So this dates back to 1894. So, yeah, 1894. So over 100. Yeah, over 100 years. Um, so that I have Iowa State winning. Well, I think they're the better team, better quarterback, and Iowa State is a sleeper in the Big 12 this year. I think they could win the Big 12 and make the playoffs. I think they could beat this year's Arizona State. That makes the playoffs in the Big 12. I think two teams can make it to the playoffs in the Big 12, and that's Iowa State and Arizona State. You have BYU in contention. You have Kansas State in contention. I think there's a 5-team race for 2 spots in the playoffs for the Big 12, and I think 2 teams who make the playoffs this year from the Big 12, and there's 5 teams in contention for that. I think, yeah, that's BYU, Arizona State, Iowa State, Kansas, and Kansas State. So yeah. With that said, State wins 23-20 in a close game. This game, Baylor and SMU. In the Battle of Texas, not two of the biggest Texas teams, but 2 Texas teams. I have SMU winning 31-17. They both SMU won last week. They're ranked number 17. Baylor lost last week and it looked good against Auburn. They let Arnold Jackson run all over them. Baylor looked like crap. So I have them losing 31-17. SMU, Jennings and SMU roll here. I think they have the better quarterback and Jennings. He's a dual threat, another dual threat quarterback. I think they have better offensive line, better defense. And I think SMU has something to prove this year. That last year wasn't a fluke. So yeah, I think they go to 2-0 here in the Battle of Texas. I don't know how close they are in proximity, but SMU wins 31-17. Next game is Texas and Kent State. Not much to say here. Kent State is one of the worst teams in the country. Texas Tech is ranked number 24. They won last week. Kent State did win last week. They're 1-1. Right? 1-1? Is that right? One and 0. 1-0. They both won last week. Texas Tech beat. Who did they beat? Texas Tech beat they beat Maverick, Warwick, and Kent State. They beat UAPB. Austin Penn. Yeah, so they both played teams good. But Kent State is not that good. So I think Texas Tech dominates this game in the line of scrimmage, both ends, and win 35-17. Maybe Kent State gets a late touchdown, but I think Kent State gets demolished here. But they cover. The cover is 48.5. That's ridiculous. But that's how bad Kent State is. So, but I think Texas Tech calls off the Dogs in the fourth quarter in the second half and win 35-17. They're up 35-10 and Kent State gets a late touchdown. So 35-17 for Texas Tech. Virginia NC State, one of the more intriguing, not intriguing, but one of the most this is I think this is kind of an intriguing game. NC State, they both won last week. NC State and Virginia. This is an SEC game, not SEC, ACC game, an early ACC game for both teams. I think this is going to be a low scoring game. NC State win 17-14. I think this is a coin flip game. This could go either way. I don't think either one is going to be in contention for ACC title game or playoff for that matter. But they're both middle of the road teams, so I think this could be a fairly decent game. Low scoring, but fairly decent. I think they're evenly matched. Um, so yeah, of NC State winning 17 is Central Michigan and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh won last week. Central Michigan also won. Yeah, Central Michigan also won. So they're both 1-0 here. Um, I think Pittsburgh wins 24-10. I think Pittsburgh is not awesome, not great, but I think Central Michigan can keep it. I think this is going to be a close game until Pittsburgh gets a late touchdown to win by 14, 24-10. Not much interest in this game, but I thought I would predict some games. Not all the good games, but some games that people don't predict. So I just thought this game was interesting to predict. So Pittsburgh wins 24-10. I don't know if it's on TV. Maybe I'll check this out. I don't think a lot of people are gonna want to watch that game, but I think it's an okay game. This game due at 12 o'clock. Okay. Pittsburgh is 21.5 point favorites. So I don't see Pittsburgh covering, but I think Pittsburgh's an intriguing ACC team this year. They could be in the hunt. They were last year. They went like started 7-0 last year. So I think Pittsburgh has a good enough quarterback, good enough team to stay in the ACC race until the end. They did last year. So moving on to the next game here, Utah State and Texas A&M. You got Mendenhall. Second game as Utah State head coach was his Texas A&M, number 19 team in the country. A&M, they have a sophomore quarterback who's a dual threat. I don't think he's all that great, but I think he's good enough for them. I think Texas A&M is going to probably dominate on both sides of the ball. I have them winning 34-24. I think Utah State is good enough to keep it close for 4 quarters, and then Texas A&M gets a late score to win by double digits. So I have A&M winning 34-24, and yeah, it's hard to win at the 12th man. That place gets rocking. I think A&M could be a sneaky playoff team if they can run the table. Not run the table. It's hard to run the table in the SEC. But they can be a sneaky team that can make the playoffs. Like South Carolina almost made the playoffs last year. A&M could be just that. They could be sneaky. They could get in with the right teams losing and the right teams not making it, like Alabama. So they can make it. They can make it. I think they're good enough to make it in the playoffs. So they're like a sleeper to make the playoffs. Is UCLA UNLV. You got Nico made his debut for UCLA. He didn't look great. The team didn't look great. Uh, Foster is the head coach at UCLA. Derek Foster. Yeah, Derek. And then I have UCLA winning this game. I have them winning 23-21 against UNLV against 2-0 UNLV. Right? Yep, 2-0 because they played week 0. And they have Dan Mullen as the head coach. I think this is gonna be their first road game. No, this is their first home game, I think. I believe this is their first home game. This is the game. This is the game I'm interested in watching. Definitely, definitely interested in watching. I'm intrigued by Nico. Yeah, this is no, their first road game was their first home game was Idaho State, which they struggled against, and that's why I think this side can win because I think they're not as bad as they look. I just think they played a good team, and who did they lose to? UCLA. They lost to Utah. They got killed by Utah. I had a last bet in that one. It didn't last well. But yeah, I think Utah's very good. I think Utah can win the Big 12 too. I forgot they're another team that can win the Big 12 too. Add them to the mix instead of K State. I don't think K State is that good. Um, I think Kansas is better, but when we get to that game in a couple weeks, whenever it is, who knows? Kansas State. I think Kansas could win that game. So yeah, that concludes the 10 games. Um, let's see how well I did this week. Maybe I'll go over 500 this time. I haven't had a winning record yet. Went 2-3 the first week with only 5 games, and then 5-5 last week. So now to the best bets. Um, the best part of the show, right? Uh, last week, overall on my best bets, I am 2-2. No, 2-2 on the show, and one in a short. So I am yeah. So I'm 3-3. 3-3 on my best bets overall. 2-2 on the short. 1-1 on the shorts. I only do one on the shorts when I put that out. I'll put that out. I usually put that out every Thursday. So watch out for that tomorrow. Um, I'll probably have an NFL one too for player props. But I went I'm 1-1 in the short best bets and 2-2 on this show best bets because I give out 2 best bets per show and one on the shorts. So 3-3 overall on the shorts on the best bets in the season. Not too bad. My first best bet is James Madison and Louisville over 56.5. Obviously, with the score I did, it's obviously going to go over. It'd be it'd be exactly 60 points, so slightly over by 3 points. So I think it's going to be a shootout. I think both teams can score, and this is going to be a fun game to watch on Friday night. It's going up against Kansas City versus LA Chargers. So I think the Chargers game's on YouTube, so I don't know how that YouTube TV or what, or no, not YouTube TV. I think just YouTube. So yeah, the second best bet is UConn money line plus 205 on Fan. These lines are from FanDuel, so I always get it from FanDuel. It's easier just get one from one book, give it out. Just shop around, make sure to shop around, but I always get it from FanDuel just to clarify. Um, UConn wins straight up money line plus 205 against Syracuse. I don't think Syracuse as good as last year. I think UConn's getting better under Jim Mora. Is it Jim Mora? Jim Mora Jr. head coach. Yep, Jim Mora, Jim Mora, Jim L. Mora. I think it's Jim Mora Jr. So I think he's a very good head coach, former NFL coach, um, former Atlanta head coach. I think he can make his way back to the NFL soon. If or gets a better could get a better job than UConn. I mean, nothing against UConn football, but if an SEC team calls, who knows? If Alabama continues to struggle, maybe Jim Moore will fit well in Alabama. I don't know. He's putting it out there. Or does he want to go back to the NFL? Does he want to make his way back to the NFL? We'll see. I think Jim Moore is an underrated head coach. I think he's doing very well in UConn. Turn that program around. It used to be not a laughing stock, but it used to be a easy bet against. So they turned that program around, and I'm happy for him. I will like him as a head coach. So that's my best bets. So this Friday we'll be doing ECW, our ECW top 10 matches of all time. Our top 10. Myself, Doug, and Daniel have our own list of our top ECW matches. Check that out on Wrestling Through the Years at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Wrestling Through the Years on YouTube.com. That's Wrestling Through the Years. And then on Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time will be the fifth episode of the Anarchy series. Fifth episode of the Anarchy Power Hour of the Anarchy series. Anarchy animated Anarchy series is the fifth episode of the Anarchy Hour Power. And the fifth episode will be Vinland Saga versus Assassination Classroom, and Honor versus My Life as a Teenage Robot, Spy and Family versus Devil May Cry. It's not a video game. I forgot. Sounds like it was a video game, but I think I had the game. Darkwing Duck versus Bugs Bunny. That should be a class. That should be good. And then Anime Showdown episode 5 will be on September 10th. Claymore versus Swan. Tim Warren versus and Pamba versus Angry Beavers. Jabba Law versus Pirates of Dark Water, and Cleveland Show versus Tom and Jerry. So those are the matchups for those two shows. So check them out. Check out Dizzle99 as he continues to do great things on the gaming channel. I might join at some point. We'll play some Mario Kart. Got the Switch too, so I'm planning on joining him for gaming. And his buddy Sky. So check them out. And check out Mindy and Daniel for the Statcast every Sunday. And I'll be back. I don't think I might do a watch along tomorrow night. I don't know for the Dallas Eagles game. Depends on how I feel. I might just want to watch it just relaxing on my couch. So I don't know yet. Maybe. And then Sunday I plan on doing a live. Every Sunday I plan on doing a live NFL recap of the games. Just a live reaction, live instant reaction after the games. It'll be at 7:00 p.m. before the 8:20 Sunday night football game. So there's still going to be some games on until 7:30. So live reaction here and there, but instant reaction for the 1:00 games and live reaction for the 4:00 games that are concluding. So plan on doing that live show. Have some guests. I'll have some co-hosts here. Hopefully, maybe my brother, Sean, David, Kenneth, whoever can join. I'll have co-hosts maybe every week. I plan on doing this every week until end of September, until I have to take a hiatus for a month. But that's the plan. I plan on doing that. When I come back in November, I'll continue to do it. But I want to do more NFL content. So the Sunday show will be a recap of mainly the week one games, and then instant reaction from the 4 o'clock games, and then we do the prediction show on Wednesdays. Myself and my brother, and when Clinton can join, or whenever either one can join. Yeah, either way, if I don't have any co-hosts, I'll still do it myself. So that's the plan. And yeah, sorry, I'm just taking a tennis US Open. So for MoneyE, I'm out. Later, guys.